Recently, we reviewed the Nokia 3 here on C4 Tech. Today, let's take a look at its pricier sibling, the Nokia 6. Will it fare better than the Nokia 3? Let's find out in this video, but before we do, if this is your first time here, or in case my review of the Nokia 3 has got you claiming not to know me now, well, my name's Ash, this is C4 Tech, and you're watching our full review of the Nokia 6. Let's get started. Let's now take a closer look at what's where. To the front, on top, we've got the notification LED, sensors, earpiece that also doubles as a speaker, an 8 megapixel camera, and the Nokia branding. Now that's followed by a 5.5-inch display, and then we've got capacitive recent apps and back keys at the bottom that are backlit and aren't really centered. That kind of annoyed me for a while till I got used to it. And note that at the center of it, we do have a home key that is not backlit. This is a capacitive key that also happens to double as a fingerprint scanner. This fingerprint scanner was very fast and snappy. I faced no issues with it in my time with the Nokia 6. And to the back, we've got a secondary noise cancelling microphone, a 16 megapixel camera with a dual tone, dual LED flash and Nokia branding. I love how the antenna bands are hit here, kinda iPhone-esque, but in the same tone nonetheless. Let's now get back to the display for a bit. This is a 5.5-inch Full HD IPS LCD panel, meaning a pixel density of about 400 pixels per inch. That is quite sharp. The colors seem okay, a tad on the cooler side of the spectrum. Consuming media on this phone is a pleasure. Like I said, the earpiece does double as a second speaker, meaning the audio output is stereo. And the audio output via this stereo speaker setup is a pleasure to hear. Do know that there is Dolby certification as well. Call quality and cellular reception were top notch too. The 3.5mm headphone jack, well, that's present up top. Volume rockers to the right, primary microphone, micro USB port, and the speakers to the bottom. To the left, we've got a hybrid tray, meaning you can add either two SIM cards or a SIM and a micro SD card. The Nokia 6 features a unibody metal build. We've got 2.5D glass to the front and a matte finish to the back. This is 6000 series aluminium here. With its chamfered edges, the Nokia 6 screams premium. Feels quite solid in hand too. The muted look gives off a classy vibe. The 6 is also quite sleek at 8.5mm thickness and weighs in at about the 170 gram mark. The build quality here, along with Corning's Gorilla Glass up front, it is top notch. While the build is exemplary, the chip inside is a run-of-the-mill mid-ranger. The Nokia 6 is powered by Snapdragon's 430 chip. Now that's 8 Cortex A53 cores clocked up to 1.4 GHz each, coupled with an Adreno 505 GPU, but there is 4 gigs of RAM and a good 64 gigs of onboard storage. Note that the Indian variant will have only 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage. Now the Nokia 3 didn't perform as well as the specs underneath. In fact, it was thrown out of the ring by competitors in its price range despite sporting similar specs. But the Nokia 6 is another story altogether. The 6 punches well above its weight. I switched to the Nokia 6 from the Mi Max 2, which sports a much more powerful Snapdragon 625 chip. But the Nokia 6 did feel much faster. HMD Global seems to have done a great job milking every bit of performance out of this chip. The Nokia 6 comes with Nokia's own custom UI, which is basically built on CyanogenMod 14.1. So once you look past the theme, here it's all close to stock. The one sold in India will, however, come with a more stock Android interface. Now even here on this Nokia 6, everything felt really fast and snappy. RAM management was impeccable. This phone was a pleasure to use. Given that it's almost stock Android, the regular Nougat features like quick switch and split screen are present and work flawlessly. Even with intense tasks like gaming, the Nokia 6 managed to hold its own. Now, does all this mean that battery life was adversely affected? I expected it to be, but again, the Nokia 6 performed well above expectations here. The 3000 mAh non-user replaceable battery inside did manage to hold up well in my 10 days of usage. With moderate usage, I was able to end most of my 10 days with over 30% juice left. Even with intense usage on days where I'd use Google Maps and GPS quite often, I'd still get through the day on a single charge. And on that note, let's now move on to cameras. The Nokia 6 sports a 16 megapixel camera to the back with an f2.0 aperture and support for face detection autofocus. The camera app is quite simple. You can turn on a manual mode that gives you more options. You also get to turn on grid lines, switch the theme and so on. And let's actually get to the performance of the sensor itself. Under good lighting conditions, the 16 megapixel rear camera performed quite well. There's ample detail with good color reproduction. The dynamic range was also above average. The HDR mode did help make things a lot better. Under low light, the camera kind of falters. Cramming 16 megapixels into a small sensor is what seemingly causes these images to look very noisy. They at times do become unusable. The Nokia 6 can shoot 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. The footage looks okay, good detail levels, average color reproduction. We do have a dedicated in-depth camera review of this phone. Here's a card to it, do check it out for more information. The 8 megapixel front-facing camera comes with autofocus and is coupled with an f2.0 aperture. This is quite a stellar performer. The images are sharp with tons of detail, the skin tones are quite accurate, and just like with the rear camera, the dynamic range is above average. The 464 variant of the Nokia 6 is priced at 1699 yuan in China. That's about 17,000 rupees or $250. In India, only the 332 variant is sold, and that is gonna be sold exclusively via Amazon.in, and the pricing is 15,000 rupees. And there are of course various offers thrown in. The Nokia 6 is an excellent phone, but is it worth 15,000 rupees? Well, yes and no. Yes, if you want a Nokia at that price. But if you are willing to look at other brands, almost every other alternative comes with stronger internals and better cameras. The Moto G5 Plus, the Honor 6X to name a few. So here's the bottom line. While the Nokia 6 is an excellent phone, I do feel it should have been priced at least a little lower. That said, you might still want to consider it if you really want a Nokia. So that's it for my 2 cents on the Nokia 6. If you do know someone who might be interested in a Nokia 6, please do share this review with them. And by the way, do you agree with what I've had to say in this video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you do want to pick a Nokia 6 up, I'll leave direct links in the description below. Use them, it helps the channel out. So if you hated this video, I'm pretty sure you know what to do. But if you did like it, turn that onto a thumbs up. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that. If you've already subscribed, hit that bell icon so that you get notified each time a new video goes live here on C4eTech. And now that we're done with all that, you can click this video that just popped up and continue watching more C4eTech content. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4eTech, calling it like I see it. You guys have a great day. Bye now.